Um,
Is it the
I don't
point
know why
guard
nobody wants to
situation?
come to
Like a
South Beach. Like that's the thing to me. Like
right.
everybody used to want to come to South Beach, and now it's kind of like nobody really wants to come to South Beach. In my opinion, I think they're scared of the work. Not scared of the work, but they don't want to put in that type of work to be in the Miami Heat organization and the Heat culture and everything that comes with it. I think Pat might have to let go of the reins a little bit and open up the reins and let people actually beat them and play.
Mario Chalmers said the quiet part out loud, and that is the main reason this topic matters so much. He basically said, NBA players do not want to go to Miami like they used to because they are scared of Pat Riley and everything that comes with Heat culture. That is a huge thing to say, but if we are being honest, it also sounds very believable. Miami is still Miami. The weather is still great. The city still has energy. South Beach still has the same pull it always had. The lifestyle is still there. So if players are not rushing to play for the Heat the way people think they should, then maybe the problem is not the city at all. Maybe the problem is the work, the rules, the pressure, and the standards that come with putting on that Heat jersey. That is what Mario Chalmers was really talking about. He was not saying players hate the idea of living in Miami. He was not saying the Heat are not respected. He was not saying nobody wants the bright lights, the warm weather, and everything else that comes with South Beach. What he was saying is much deeper than that. He was saying players do not want the full Miami Heat experience. They do not want Pat Riley watching everything. They do not want the strict rules. They do not want the weight checks. They do not want to be pushed every day. They do not want to be held to a level where excuses do not matter. And in today's NBA, that kind of truth hits hard because it says a lot about where the league is right now. Pat Riley has built a name in this league for being one of the toughest men in basketball. That has been his image for years. He is not the kind of guy who smiles and lets players do whatever they want. He is not the kind of guy who changes the whole building just because one star wants more power. He believes in control. He believes in structure. He believes in discipline. He believes that if a player wants to be great, then that player has to live the right way, train the right way, and carry himself the right way every single day. That is how Pat Riley has always looked at the game. And that old school way of thinking may be the exact reason some of today's players do not want to be anywhere near Miami. Because let's be honest here, a lot of players love freedom. They want room to move how they want to move. They want to handle their own schedule. They want flexibility. They want comfort. They want people around them to understand their mood, their image, their brand, and their life outside of basketball. They want the game to be important, but they do not want it to be the only thing that controls every part of their life. Pat Riley is the opposite of that. In Miami, basketball comes first. Conditioning comes first. Showing up ready comes first. The team standard comes first. That is why Mario Chalmers saying players are scared makes so much sense. They may not be scared of the city. They may not even be scared of winning. They may just be scared of being pushed in a way most other teams do not push them. And Mario Chalmers would know. He played in Miami. He lived that culture. He was part of those teams that won titles. He saw how the organization works from the inside. So when he speaks on this, it is not just noise from somebody looking for attention. He has lived under Pat Riley's system. He knows what the weight rules are like. He knows what the practices are like. He knows how the Heat expect players to show up, not just during the season, but in the off-season too. That is why his words carry more weight than people may realize. He is not guessing. He is speaking from experience, and experience like that matters. This whole thing also tells you something important about Heat culture. People say that phrase all the time, but not everybody really understands what it means. Heat culture is not just some cool slogan the team throws around. It is a way of life in that building. It means being in shape. It means being serious. It means doing the hard work before anybody praises you. It means no shortcuts. It means you are going to be challenged. It means coaches are going to be on you. It means the front office expects you to live up to a standard, not just show up because you have talent. That kind of culture can help you win, but it can also scare away players who want a softer life. And that is the key point. Miami is not losing players because it is a bad place to be. Miami is losing some of that old pull because the team is too demanding for the taste of some of today's stars. That is really what this comes down to. In another time, players might have looked at Pat Riley and seen a man who could make them better. Today, some players may look at him and see a man who is going to make life harder than they want it to be. That does not mean Pat Riley is wrong. It just means the league has changed. Players today have more power, they have more voice, they have more ways to shape their careers, and when they look across the league and see teams that offer more comfort, more freedom, and more player control, Miami can start to feel less inviting. What makes this even more interesting is that the city itself should make recruiting easy. If all you had to do was sell weather, culture, nightlife, and no state income tax, Miami should be near the top of every player's list every single year. That is why this topic is so telling. If Miami still has all of those things and still struggles to pull certain big names, then something else has to be pushing players away. That something else is the standard. It is the demand. It is the pressure of knowing that once you get to Miami, nobody is going to care how famous you are if you are not in shape, if you are not focused, or if you are not fully bought in. And this is where Mario Chalmers really hit a nerve. He said players are scared of the work. Then he kind of backed off it a little and softened the words, but the first thing that came out of his mouth was the truth he really felt. He was trying to explain why South Beach is no longer pulling players the same way, and the first answer was simple. They do not want that level of work. That says everything. Because if you take away the nice talk, that means a lot of players want the reward without the extra weight that Miami puts on your shoulders. They want the money, they want the fame, they want the lifestyle, but they do not want the extra work that comes with joining one of the toughest organizations in sports. Now, to be fair, this is not about saying every NBA player today is soft. That would be lazy talk. There are still hard workers in this league. There are still guys who love being pushed. There are still players who want strong coaching, serious structure, and clear rules. There are still players who would fit Miami very well. But Mario Chalmers was not talking about every single player. He was talking about the bigger trend. He was talking about the kind of player who looks at Miami and says, I love the city, but I do not want that life. And if enough players feel that way, then that becomes a real team-building problem. Because here is the truth. Talent matters, but fit matters too. Miami does not just need great players. Miami needs players who can live in that system and not break under it. Miami needs players who accept the discipline instead of fighting it. Miami needs players who respect the program and do not try to bend the whole thing around themselves. That is harder to find now because so many stars are used to teams coming to them, asking them what they want, asking them who they want to play with, and giving them a huge say in how things go. Pat Riley has never really moved like that. He may listen, but he is not going to hand over the organization. That is a major difference. And that brings us to another big reason why players may feel uneasy about Miami. In today's NBA, a lot of stars want influence. They want a say in roster moves. They want their voice to matter in the front office. They want to feel like the team is theirs as much as it belongs to the organization. Pat Riley does not play that game the same way others do. In Miami, the team belongs to the Heat first. The culture was there before the player got there, and it will still be there after he leaves. That may sound great to old-school basketball people, but to some modern stars, that can feel limiting. It can feel like a place where they will never fully have the power they want. That is part of why the LeBron part of this story still matters years later. LeBron had success in Miami. He won in Miami. He played with other stars in Miami. But even then, Pat Riley never let it feel like the whole machine belonged to LeBron. Miami was still Pat Riley's house. And for a player used to having huge influence, that can create tension. It is one thing to be the biggest star on the floor. It is another thing to be the biggest star in a building where somebody else still holds the line. Pat Riley has always been that kind of figure. He is not afraid of star power. He respects it, but he does not bow to it. That alone can scare off players who want more than just a contract and a jersey. What makes Pat Riley different is that he is not selling comfort. He is selling standards. He is telling players, if you come here, this is how we do things. You will be in shape. You will be ready. You will be held accountable. You will not drift through the season. You will not show up sloppy and expect people to clap for you. You will not get special treatment just because your name is big. For fans who miss old-school basketball, that sounds amazing. For some players, that sounds like a headache. That is why Mario Chalmers' comments are so important. They explain a truth that fans have probably felt for a while but never heard said this clearly by a former Heat player. There is also a bigger NBA story hiding inside this whole debate. The league has changed from a team-first culture to a player-first culture in many ways. Years ago, players had to fit into organizations. Now organizations often try to fit around players. Years ago, the coach and the front office set the tone. Now the superstar often sets the tone. Years ago, you had to earn power over time. Now some players walk into the league already thinking about freedom, image, and brand. Again, that is not good or bad by itself. It is just the reality of modern sports. But Miami still feels like one of the few places that refuses to fully move with that wave. That can make the Heat respected, but it can also make them less attractive. And that may be the real battle Pat Riley is fighting right now. He is trying to keep Miami tough in a league that rewards comfort. He is trying to keep standards high in a time when many players want room to do things their own way. He is trying to hold on to the old values that built winners while dealing with a new generation that does not always want to be coached hard. That is not an easy line to walk. It is actually one of the hardest things in sports, because if you stay too old school, you may lose access to certain players. But if you soften too much, you may lose the very thing that made your team special in the first place. That is why when Mario Chalmers said Pat Riley might have to loosen the reins a little, that was an important part of his message. He was not saying the Heat should lose their identity. He was not saying Miami should stop being Miami. He was saying that maybe, just maybe, Pat Riley has to adjust a little to the times if he wants to open the door wider for players who are not built like the stars from 20 years ago. That is a fair point. It does not mean Riley should become soft. It just means there may need to be some balance between strong culture and a modern understanding of how today's players think. Still, there is another side to that argument. Maybe Pat Riley does not want everybody. Maybe he is fine with players being scared off. Maybe from his point of view, if a player looks at Miami and runs from the standards, then that player was never the right fit anyway. That is the old school way of looking at it. It says not every player deserves to be in your system. It says some players are built for the grind and some are not. It says you do not lower the bar just to make more people comfortable. There is something powerful about that way of thinking, and it is a big reason why so many people still respect Pat Riley, even if they think his style is too hard. And let's not forget that Miami has gotten results with this approach. The Heat have stayed competitive even when people counted them out. They have developed players other teams overlooked. They have made deep playoff runs when nobody expected much from them. They have stayed one of the most serious teams in the league because that culture does not bend easily. So the results give Pat Riley a strong case. He can look around and say, "Why should I change? My way works." And honestly, that is a fair response. The problem is that working and attracting stars are not always the same thing. You can be respected and still struggle to land big names. You can win a lot of games and still lose out in recruitment. That is where the Heat find themselves now. They are still respected. They are still seen as a serious team. Eric Spoelstra is still viewed as one of the best coaches in basketball. Pat Riley is still one of the strongest figures in the sport. The culture is still strong. The city is still beautiful. But when it comes time to pull top players, that old magic is not as automatic as people think it should be. And Mario Chalmers just gave one of the clearest reasons why. Players see everything Miami offers, but they also see the price. And for some of them, that price is simply too high. You also have to think about how many players today care deeply about life outside the game. They want time. They want space. They want to grow their business. They want to build their name beyond basketball. They want to protect their body and manage their own routine in ways that feel right for them. In Miami, a player may feel like he is giving some of that up. He may feel like he is stepping into a world where the team is going to demand a level of control over his body, his habits, and his daily life that he does not want to accept. And when there are other teams willing to offer more room and more softness, the choice gets easier. What makes this story so good is that it cuts through all the fake talk. Usually when a team misses on stars, people come up with simple reasons. They say maybe the money was not right. Maybe the player wanted a bigger market. Maybe the player wanted to be closer to home. Those reasons can matter, sure, but Mario Chalmers pointed to something deeper. He pointed to fear of structure, fear of demands, fear of hard work at a level that never really lets up. That is a much more honest answer, and that is why his comments landed the way they did. And again, the word scared does not even have to mean weak. Sometimes people are not scared because they cannot do something. Sometimes they are scared because they do not want to live that way if they do not have to. That is an important difference. Some players could absolutely handle Pat Riley's system. They just may not want to. They may ask themselves why they should sign up for all that pressure when they can make their money, play their game, and live with more freedom somewhere else. That is not always about being unable. Sometimes it is just about preference. But from Miami's side, the result is the same. Another player looks at South Beach and says, "No thanks." And that puts even more pressure on Miami to build smart through other ways. If top free agents are not dying to come, then the Heat have to keep winning on the margins. They have to draft well. They have to develop role players into real contributors. They have to win trades without giving up too much. They have to find the rare star who actually wants the Heat life. That is not impossible, but it is harder. And when fans ask why Miami cannot always make the splash moves they dream about, Mario Chalmers may have just given the most honest answer anybody has heard in a long time. The truth is, Pat Riley has built a place that demands something from you before it gives something back. That is rare today. Many teams are trying to make life easy for stars. Miami is still trying to make stars earn it. That sounds great in theory, but in the real NBA, it can scare people off. It can make players think twice. It can make agents steer their clients in other directions. It can make stars admire Miami from afar instead of actually wanting to join it. That is the hidden cost of being one of the toughest teams in the league. So when Mario Chalmers says players are terrified of Pat Riley, the strong word may get all the attention, but the meaning behind it is what really matters. He is saying players are not eager to walk into a place where the standard is higher, the excuses are fewer, and the pressure never really turns off. He is saying that in an era where many players want care, comfort, and control, Miami still feels like a hard place run by hard people. And whether you agree with that or not, it makes sense as a reason why South Beach is not the automatic dream destination it once looked like. At the end of the day, this whole story comes down to one simple truth. Miami still has the city, Miami still has the fame, Miami still has the weather, Miami still has the winning image. But Pat Riley is still there too, and that changes everything. Because with Pat Riley comes the rules, the discipline, the accountability, the body standards, the pressure, the hard coaching, and the demand to live basketball the right way. Some players will always respect that. Some players may even love it. But a lot of today's NBA players seem to look at all of that and decide it is not the life they want. And that may be the clearest reason of all why Mario Chalmers' comments hit so hard. He did not just speak on Miami, he spoke on the mindset of today's league. And in doing that, he may have told us exactly why Pat Riley still has players thinking twice before they ever pack a bag for South Beach.